As the philosopher David Graeber once noted, debt has a unique capacity to turn morality into cold arithmetic. It quantifies our lives, turning our future days into mere line items on someone else's ledger. Every morning, we wake up and step into a race. We check our bank accounts, we look at our credit scores, we plan our careers, and we worry about mortgages, loans, and inflation. We treat debt as a modern financial invention, a math problem solved with spreadsheets and interest rates. But what if debt isn't just financial? What if money is only the surface layer of a much deeper, almost spiritual arrangement? Today, we are going to look beneath the numbers. We are going to explore the metaphysics of debt. If you look at the root of the word debt, it connects deeply to ancient concepts of guilt, sin, and obligation. In German, the word Schuld means both financial debt and moral guilt. To be in debt is to exist in a state of incompletion. It is a promise made in the past that holds a knife to the throat of the future. Think about it. When you take out a loan, what are you actually borrowing? You aren't just borrowing paper money or digital ones and zeros. You are borrowing time. You are consuming tomorrow's freedom to satisfy today's desire. To understand the metaphysics of debt, we must understand how it distorts time. In a natural world, time flows one way, from the past through the present into the future. You work today, you earn resources, and you spend them tomorrow. The future is an unwritten, open horizon of possibilities. Debt flips this cosmic order completely upside down. When you sign a debt contract, you are reaching into the year 2030 or 2040, grabbing the fruits of your future labor and dragging them into the present moment. You get the house, the car, or the degree today. But in return, you surrender your future choices. The future is no longer a wide-open horizon. It is now a locked room. On Tuesday morning, 5 years from now, you must wake up and go to work. Not because you want to, but because a ghost from your past commanded it. Debt is the magic trick where we materialize the future into the present, only to realize we have turned our future selves into indentured servants to our past choices. We live in a civilization that is profoundly impatient. We have normalized the idea that we shouldn't have to wait for anything. But metaphysics teaches us that balance is the ultimate law of the universe. You cannot get something for nothing. The energy must come from somewhere. And in our modern economy, that energy is mined directly from our unborn days. But let us zoom out from the individual. Let us look at society as a whole. Why do we, as a collective humanity, owe our futures to the past? Every generation inherits a world built by those who came before. We inherit roads, bridges, laws, institutions, and languages. But in the 21st century, we also inherit something terrifying, a towering mountain of systemic, unpayable debt. Global debt is currently at historic, unimaginable highs. Who do we owe this money to? Mars? Another planet? No, we owe it to ourselves, or rather, our institutions owe it to the concept of the future. Think about the climate crisis, national debts, and the depletion of natural resources. These are all forms of metaphysical debt. The Industrial Revolution and the generations that followed lived in a hyper-prosperous present by borrowing from the ecological and financial stability of the future. They burned the coal, they spent the capital, and they printed the money. Now the future has arrived, and the debt collectors are knocking on our door. We are born into an ancestral ledger we never asked to sign. We are paying interest on choices made by people who are already in the grave. This is the tragic metaphysical loop of humanity. The past creates the system. The present suffers under its weight, and the future is sold to keep the illusion alive. Why does this system persist? Because debt is the ultimate tool of psychological and metaphysical control. A person with zero debt is dangerously free. A person who owes nothing can say no. They can quit a toxic job. They can move to a new place. They can spend their time creating art, contemplating existence, or questioning authority. But a person in debt? A person burdened by mortgages, student loans, and credit cards? They are predictable. They are compliant. They must participate in the machine. They cannot afford to strike. They cannot afford to pause. And they cannot afford to dream outside the parameters of their monthly payments. In ancient times, religions understood this. In the Lord's Prayer, Christians pray, "Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." In ancient Babylon, rulers practiced a ritual called the clean slate or anduraram. Every few decades, all financial debts were legally wiped out. Why? Because those ancient kings realized that if debt grew too large, the society would collapse. They knew that if the past completely choked out the future, the people would lose the will to live, work, and create. Today, we have forgotten this wisdom. We have built a secular religion where debt is immortal. Corporations can declare bankruptcy and restructure, but for the average human being, the metaphysical weight of debt follows them to the grave. We have turned money into a god and debt into our permanent original sin. But how did we get here? How did we convince ourselves that trading our future freedom for present comfort was a good deal? The answer lies in the brilliant, devastating architecture of modern consumerism. We live in a world that no longer sells us products, it sells us identities. We are told that we are what we wear, what we drive, and where we live. The system creates an artificial itch, a synthetic desire, and then conveniently hands us a credit card as the only way to scratch it. This creates a profound illusion of choice. We think we are exercising our freedom when we buy that luxury item, upgrade to that newer car, or sign the papers for a lifestyle we can barely afford. But in reality, that is the exact moment we surrender our freedom. We are trapped in a hyper-consumerist wheel, chasing a horizon that keeps moving backward. We buy things we don't need, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't like. This famous modern proverb captures the ultimate metaphysical tragedy of our era. The system doesn't force you into chains at gunpoint anymore. It doesn't need to. Instead, it convinces you to buy the chains yourself, finance them at a 15% interest rate, and wear them as a badge of honor. We have institutionalized dissatisfaction. We are trained to feel poor in a world of abundance, forcing us to constantly reach into tomorrow just to feel validated today. So where does this leave us? Are we doomed to be perpetual ghosts wandering through lives that have already been spent? Not necessarily. But to break this spell, we must realize that the truest form of wealth is not the ability to buy whatever we want. The truest form of wealth is absolute sovereignty over our own time. When we choose to live deliberately and resist the relentless corporate siren song that commands us to borrow, consume, and owe, we are performing an act of rebellion. We are drawing a line in the sand and reclaiming our futures. The past should be a foundation to stand upon, not a cage that imprisons our spirits. We owe gratitude for the infrastructure of civilization, but we do not owe them our souls. So, the next time you are tempted to trade your tomorrow for a fleeting piece of today, pause. Remember that your future self is a real person, and they deserve to wake up to an open sky of endless possibilities, not a pre-written script of heavy obligations. Let us stop blindly borrowing from the unborn days of our lives, and let us finally begin to inhabit a present that honors the past without sacrificing the unwritten potential of the future. That's it for today's video. If you find this useful, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching and have a great day.